Hey, Will, we should get back to the world's dirtiest man.
Yes.
You know that
Oh,
article
sorry.
we started talking about?
I forgot.
Okay. So this was in The Age.
Mm.
Campbell McDiarmid wrote this article. World's dirtiest man dies after. What do you think caused him to die? What event happened before he died?
He had a bath or a shower. I know he washed in
Correct.
some way. Yeah.
He had a bath. He had a bath. An Iranian man nicknamed the dirtiest man in the world. I mean, is that a nickname? Like, you're not nicknamed the dirtiest man in the world, unless every time people saw him on the street, they're like, hey, dirtiest man in the world, which is not a great nickname.
Well,
Dubbed.
I mean,
It's a man dubbed the dirtiest man in the world. Is it?
unless he was cool with the nickname. Like, and maybe he moved to a new school and he's like, at my old school, they called me the dirtiest boy in the world.
But is it a nickname? It's not really a nickname. It's like a moniker. It's not really like a nickname. It tends to be a shortened version, or a shortened pseudonym that people use to describe.
Like, is old dirty bastard a nickname? I mean, that's his rapping name, I guess. Like, more than it's his nickname.
No, that's a stage name.
Yeah.
What about it? Well, okay. The Rock, the most electrifying man in sports entertainment.
Yeah.
That's not his nickname. That's like a slogan or something. That's like a descriptor.
Right. But The Rock isn't also his name. His name is Dwayne. So
okay. An Iranian man nicknamed the dirtiest man in the world for living in filth and not washing for decades has died at the age of 94. State
94. Okay.
Yeah. 94.
Good immune system.
Amu Haji, who did not wash for more than half a century, died on Sunday in the village of Dejga in the southern province of Fars, IRNA news agency reported. So then there's an accompanying photo, and I don't know, Mike, you might want to find this and drop it to the chat so Will can see, but the accompanying photo in this article is what is clearly the world's dirtiest man. Smoking four cigarettes at once. And the caption
is that to just dull the smell a little bit? Just like
the caption is Amu Haji smokes several cigarettes as he sits on the grounds in the outskirts of a village. Yeah, he's smoking several cigarettes. And maybe, I think too, like, what this smacks of is, like, I get this. There are some, you just get, like you were talking before about during COVID, you just sometimes went through a phase where you're like, I'm just not going to wash for a while. And then you go, well, I'm not going to wash for a while. Well, I'm going to eat whatever I want. Like, one thing begets the next. So if I'm not going to have a shower for 50 years, then smoking 4 cigarettes at once, why not? Like, why not?
I mean, he made it to his mid-90s. Like, I mean, he was doing something right.
For decades, he had avoided eating fresh food and showering over fears of getting sick. The agency and local, the agency quoted a local official as saying, but for the first time a few months ago, the villagers are taking him to the bathroom to wash. Why start now?
It does seem weird that, like, after 50 years, like you said, just let him die in his own filth. Like, this is a guy he's been working on this for a really long time. Like, he'd be used to it. Like, they do say with your hair, right? Like, if you stop washing your hair, there's a point where your hair, the natural oils and whatever, you never need to wash your hair again. Basically, it finds its own, natural balance.
That's the same thing about deodorant. Like, we actually shouldn't be wearing deodorant. That your armpit is your body's thermostat, and that's how you regulate body temperature. And when you cover the secreting glands in your armpits, or you smother them, then your body can't regulate temperature, which affects your immune system.
Yeah. So why, if this guy's been working up a 50-year stank, like, he's comfortable with it now, right? Like, if you see a clean dude smoking 4 cigarettes, you're like, hang on, mate, that doesn't seem right. Yeah. But if you see a guy who hasn't washed in half a century and he's, sucking back 4 durries, you're like, good on you, man. Like, you are living your own life. You've decided what your lane is and you've stuck to it.
Living your best life. Like, I wanted to, I mean, at some point in human history, this must have been common, right? Like, I imagine
people not washing. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Of course.
And they were fine.
I mean, God is here.
After he washed Not long after he washed, he fell ill, and finally on Sunday, he gave up his life, the report states. Although Amu Haji had never married and apparently had no family.
No,
That's a
fair
shock
enough.
there.
Yeah, no, that checks out.
The eccentric was viewed with some affection by local villagers who reportedly built him a cinder block shack so he'd stop sleeping in a hole in the ground.
Okay, that's nice.
He'd become an object of curiosity in recent years, with people posting videos of his strange behaviour, which included smoking up to 5 cigarettes at once or smoking dung from a metal plumbing joint. Now, see, this is what I'm saying, is like once kind of one thing's off the table, then it's all off the table.
He seems to have lived a long life, with some sort of support and affection from his community and stuff. I just am interested in the idea of, is there a point where it just gets into a natural balance? Is there a point where just being dirty it doesn't feel gross or disgusting in the way that if you just if you go from being really clean to being dirty or getting a smell on you, it's very obvious. But after a while, if that is your natural state of being, isn't it? Like with Toddy, one of the things with big dogs is they say, because they have the double coat, you're not meant to wash them in the way, right. So with Ramona, we'll give her a bath, give her a wash. But with those big dogs, you're not really meant to wash them regularly, because they naturally, maintain their, so if she's rolled in something or whatever, you might try to clean that off. But in a general sense that you don't wash them as regularly, they do kind of find a natural balance. So I'm just wondering if this dude I think he might have found a natural balance.
Is it all opposites too? If most people find, dirty things gross and off-putting, does he find clean things off-putting? Right. And then, does he listen to Kevin Bloody Wilson for light comedy? Right. But if he wants something really edgy and after dark, he listens to, I don't know,
something
the music
clean
of Will Smith.
Clean.
Or something.
Yeah, I was going to say clean comedy. Yeah, that's his kink. Clean things.
Yeah. Jerry Seinfeld. After dark, I'm going to listen to some Seinfeld.
Yeah, see him on the internet just looking at really clean things. He's like, don't tell anyone. But this really gets me off.
It goes onto Pornhub and it's just people cleaning stovetops and stuff using GIF. To see the full video, join our Patreon.
Patreon.com/Tofop.